Digital, we are going to be going over the launch process to bring a website live. So in this case, we have developed on WordPress, and I just used all-in-one WP migration. I went into export, I exported to a file, and now this file is a WPress file sitting in my Downloads Manager here. So what we're going to do next, we're going to go to our cPanel. Now in this case, I'm launching to SiteGround. Many different places have cPanel. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an add-on domain. So if you want to host multiple domains in one hosting package, this is typically how you would do it. So what we're going to do is add the domain here. And we're going to do the .org version of the domain, and then we're going to have the .com version of the domain forward there. So we're going to go ahead and add that domain. Just kind of accept the default, set a password there. I like to set the same password as the actual hosting account. That may or may not be what you'd like to do in practice, but it's just easy to remember that way. All right. Now, of course, you do have to remember if you ever have to change your password for security reasons, you have to change it in both places. So let's do this now. What we're going to do is go to cPanel Home. We actually need to point that domain. So in most cases, I would recommend just pointing the A record. So we're going to go into our domains here. And what we're going to do is just find the domain. In this case, yep, there it is. We're going to, whatever domain provider you're in, they're always going to have a DNS management spot. So we just have to find where we would actually manage the DNS. It's often called DNS Zone Editor, etc., etc. In this case, let's do this. We're just going to actually change the name servers. That's not normally what I like to do, but in this case, we're going to do that because we don't have email set up yet. Otherwise, you would change the A records, and we'll make a separate video for that. So these are the name servers. You can typically find them in cPanel. Otherwise, just Google the name of your host and name servers. So there we go. We saved off those name servers. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do an installation. So in this case, I'm going to use Softaculous. You don't have to use Softaculous, but I'm going to use a WordPress installer. As long as you end up with a WordPress install there, you're good to go. So let's just do this. We're going to set it to HTTP. Don't set it to HTTPS. The reason for that is before your domain is installed, you don't want to, before your SSL is installed, you don't want to have a whole bunch of trouble with that. So we're going to go ahead and set an admin username. I'm just going to grab this default password here. Now make sure your directory does not get set because we want to have it on the main directory. So here we go. One thing I like to do too is just uncheck WordPress Starter. I don't need that. And then in Advanced Options, I like to just add a little bit of information about the database. So I do my own table prefixes, my own database name. So that way, if you're looking through PHPMyAdmin, you're looking at the database, you can very easily see which website is which just from there. So here we go. We'll just wait for a second while that installs. And hopefully, we will be able to go straight to it after that. If the name servers have propagated, it will work just fine. If that doesn't work, what we can do is something called mocking up our host file. So in this case, this worked. Well, we don't know yet that it's worked. So it looks like it is, yep, it's asking us to configure our name servers. So we are going to have to probably do something else. So let's just try this. I'm going to go to mentalhealth101.org. Sometimes I like to also try that like in an incognito window, or clear my cache and refresh it and just make 100% sure that it's not going to work before I try to mock up my host file. In this case, let's see here. Any dice, maybe it's going to work. Oh, there we go. All right. So that's great. And I'm going to go ahead and get logged in. And you'll just be logging in with whatever password you set when you were setting up the installation. So we're going to add a new plugin. We're going to add the all-in-one migration plugin. That is my favorite migration plugin. It's super easy to use. Sometimes it's better to use something different in specific scenarios, but across the board, it's the best recommendation that I have. So we are going to upload another plugin as well, because I purchased the unlimited extension for all-in-one WP migration. We're just going to activate that as well. One thing you definitely want to do, check for updates on that unlimited extension. There we go. It does need an update, and I want to make sure we get that in before we actually pull our file. So the unlimited extension of all-in-one WP migration allows you to do unlimited file sizes. You can import unlimited file sizes. So we're going to go to all-in-one WP migration, and we're going to just start the import process here. So that's pretty much the end of the road. So once this is done, what's going to happen is it's going to just say, hey, it's going to just say that it's done, and it's going to ask you to flush the permalinks a couple times. One other thing that I want to talk about real briefly is SSL. So we are going to want to install an SSL, and typically the easiest way to do that is just to go through Let's Encrypt. And we can very easily, grab our domain here and install Let's Encrypt SSL. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and that's in the installation queue. We'll wait on that for a little while, and now we just have to wait for our import to get done and go from there. Hopefully this was helpful. Have an awesome, awesome day.